Molly Weiss.
And I'm Blake Wood from InvestNet.
And we're here live at Futureproof with Patrick Krulik, Head of Investments at IMA Advisory Services. Patrick, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So Patrick, from your perspective, what are the biggest shifts happening in wealth management today, and how is your company helping investors and advisors you serve adapt and change?
We're seeing a lot of interest in alternatives and how to incorporate those into portfolios and how to do so efficiently. And so the democratization evolves, but at the end of the day, fundamental sound portfolio management doesn't change overnight. And so it's staying in touch with the pulse and those things that change, but also not kind of getting out over our skis, if you will.
Alternatives is definitely, it's like AI and alternatives. They're the buzzwords in our industry, at this conference. It's kind of anywhere. But tell us a little bit more about you and your firm and sort of what's your elevator pitch?
Yeah, so IMA Financial Group has been in business for about 50 years, started in Wichita, Kansas, primarily a property and casualty insurance company, but an advisor to their clients, so a valued partner sitting on the same side of the table to help brokerage lots of insurance contracts. We've had an RIA as part of that group. It's a smaller part of revenue, but really the same concept, right? How do we sit on the same side of the table with our clients, be a trusted advisor to them, regardless of their needs? And so IMA Financial Group has had a recap in about 2020, has grown about 4x in the last 5 years. Our goal is to do the same with the RIA. So we're just trying to keep up with the company. It's a really fantastic organization to be a part of. And so we're looking to grow both organically and inorganically kind of across the country where we already have sort of that footprint with our insurance partners.
So you've got a history on the investment side. You've also worked a little bit on the tech side as well. Curious to know what's the tech stack look like for IMA?
The IMA actually was on Tamarac up until about 18 months ago as part of our growth strategy, converted from Tamarac to InvestNet enterprise solutions to be able to accommodate more business models, different solutions, be able to expand the capabilities that we're offering through our advisors. We use Salesforce on the CRM side. We use MoneyGuide Pro on financial planning. And those are the big ones right now.
Was there any one tipping corner? It would be great to take us through your thought process as you guys move between the two platforms and what you're looking to do with your growth strategy.
Our traditional private wealth practice in particular has been that do-it-yourself advisor as portfolio manager, managing portfolios. And as we look to grow and we have advisors that are retiring and changing sort of the way that we manage money, being able to take advantage of sort of the best-in-class investment solutions and best-in-class technology really led us to that decision. We also partner with LibertyFi to help us on and I should have said that earlier, so shout out to LibertyFi, sorry for the delayed answer there, but to help us with all the services, right? So we're still a small team, but we want to be nimble, and hopefully as new partners join our firm, new things come on, we have the capabilities now to scale up and to really accommodate that transition when we bring in new partners.
So we love that you're using the InvestNet family of technology and investment solutions, but how are you using, or are you thinking about using any kind of new tech-specific capabilities within your tech stack?
I mean, we're always testing and trying. So, we're playing with the different AI tools to see if they add lift and they add value. We're looking at potentially different services, right? If there's going to be bill pay, if there's going to be other services that we want to offer our clients. On the research side, we're running through the regular culprits. We're looking at Y charts potentially as an addition to our research tech stack. And yeah, those are kind of the big ones that we're looking at right now.
So a lot of the big headlines out there, all the M&A activity going on in our space, and then we talk about this problem of advisors not organically growing their own business. How are you guys looking to accelerate organic growth?
It depends on the stage of each advisor. So somebody once told me, if you've met one RIA, you've met one RIA. But as an organization, what we're really trying to do is move from sort of that lead advisor role to a team-based approach. So in addition to myself joining the team to run the investments, we've added a dedicated chief compliance officer to take all of that off of the plate. She's a former SEC examiner, knows all the ins and outs. We added a director of financial planning to take off the financial planning. We're adding a paraplanner. So it's really about reshuffling our resources and reallocating the people so that we get the most lift out of them right now. Technology obviously plays a part in that. Anything that we can do more efficiently and better, we're going to do. But it's also, I think, structural, how we arrange the pieces to get the best bang.
Yeah. So that sounds very focused on scale. And you mentioned AI a little bit, but will you share a little bit more about ways in which you're looking to leverage AI as a part of the way that you're running the business?
Yeah. I mean, as I said, we're in probably the early stages, but just data analytics has been a huge part of what we've already found some value in. And it's the idea of like answering questions that we have. And normally you might give it to an analyst and they would go do a project for 2 or 3 days to figure out the answer. Here, if we can get the systems trained, we can get some of those answers in a split second. So, for example, on our retirement side, one of the projects was we were trying to find any plan that didn't have the newest vintage of target date funds. That feels like an easy question, but it's not easy to find something that's missing in a data set without really going deep into the Excel. And here, load up a spreadsheet, ask it, it pinpointed everything for us. It was really, that was kind of one of the success stories. We've had other ones that go completely haywire and come up with this great looking solution, and as soon as you start digging under the hood, it's wrong. But I think it's been a good learning experience regardless. Is part of it is us learning how to ask the right questions, how to interact appropriately. So as we kind of keep developing, I think there's definitely value there.
So IMA's really a multidisciplinary practice. You've got risk management, insurance, and wealth management. You bring in those together. How do you see that convergence of these different disciplines changing the way that advisors frame holistic financial planning for either the businesses they serve or the families they serve?
Yeah. So I think, and I've thought this for a long time, the industry definitely moves slower than I thought, or I think it should. But I think most buyers want to have one point of contact. They want to be able to have all of their needs serviced with one team that does everything well for them. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't, specialists that you bring in and different things that you do, but to be able to answer those questions about the insurance, about all the pieces of their financial picture through one office, I think has huge values.
Yeah, we talk a lot about that too. I think that's key. So I probably should have mentioned this term in addition to alternatives and AI, but high net worth. Everyone's talking about high net worth, ultra high net worth. And, you just did this conference alone. We've probably heard it in the last 10 minutes, like 5 times. But how do you see sort of meeting the unmet need more in that middle market, which is maybe not talked about as much?
Yeah, right. And that's where if everyone's chasing the ultra high net worth and the high net worth, it gets harder. And that middle market, that's really right now our bread and butter, right? That's where we have a lot of our relationships and I think we service well. But I do think that is where efficiency becomes key, right? Making sure that you use the technologies that you have available to enhance your communications, to make things one-to-many instead of one-to-one. So anytime that you're doing anything, and video is a good step, but even some of the AI tools to write newsletters, and we saw the demo yesterday of one that'll write a personalized portfolio commentary, sort of adapt your market views with the portfolio data. Like that's pretty powerful. If you can get that done across 1,000 clients at once, then you can take care of your quarterly reviews much more efficiently. So in that place, it definitely is about scale, and it's definitely about one-to-many communications.
So let's talk about advisor skills, but either specifically with IMA or with our industry. What do you see as critical tools, processes, or training that advisors need to have today to blend maybe specifically the risk management capabilities of IMA with the wealth management capabilities?
That's a loaded question. The advisors, and what I've found in my career is that you can have very successful advisors that have very different skill sets, right? You can have some, and I always said a lot of advisors, I've spent my whole career sort of behind the scene advisor to advisors, and some can be really good at financial planning. Some can be really good at sales and relationship management. Some are really good portfolio managers. And so my advice is always do what you're really good at. Focus on that and then find the other pieces to fill out that pie. So I've been more on the portfolio management. I'm not as good at the financial planning or the end relationship management and the sales. And so each one plays a part. And I think as you build a firm and you build that team, figuring out how you collaborate, right? So that you're not trying to be all things, but that you can deliver all things through that sort of team-based approach.
So personal question. Let's get a little bit more insight into Patrick Krulik, what you're looking at, what you're thinking. Is there any book, movie, podcast that you're into that you'd recommend?
So I just finished Succession as a TV series, which was fantastic. I highly recommend that for just sort of, for the entertainment value. It's quite good. Reading, though, speaking of our chief compliance officer, she recommended there's a book called Red Notice, which is by Bill Browder. Fantastic book. Highly recommend for anyone. This guy was one of the first hedge funds into Russia. And all of that was written 10 years ago, but it gives you some insight into Russian politics and the KGB and Vladimir Putin. Real story, Hermitage Capital. I mean, crazy spy stuff. Fantastic book. Worth the read. Absolutely.
We've made our way to the speed round. So first speed round question, crypto in portfolios, real or not real?
I'm not a buyer. I still have my mind changed, but right now we're sort of watching. The problem that I go, and it's the same problem I have with commodities in portfolios, is I have trouble. Where's the cash coming from? How do I value it? And so I think right now I still consider it a speculative asset. If clients want it, I think Barry Ritholtz was saying his cowboy portfolio, right? Your kind of fun money that you put off to the side. If you want to put a little bit in your 5 or 10%, you can do it. But we're not recommending it right now.
Next one, as an investment, was in the news recently with Taylor Swift buying her music back, earning royalties off energy royalties, patent licensing, music. Is that more of a niche play for the ultra high net worth, or is it something that's going to come more of a mainstream opportunity?
The way I look at those things, right, is anytime you're looking at investments, it's where's the cash coming from, when is it coming, and how likely am I to get it, right? And there's enough players in the market that I think those things are going to be fairly valued. So could you put them in portfolios? Yeah. Do you need them in portfolios? Probably not. Is it sort of a fun thing that you could do? Maybe, right? But is it ever going to be 10% of people's portfolios? Probably, and probably shouldn't be.
How about advice models? So flat fee, subscription, or AUM? What wins in 10 years from now?
So as my prior firm, we actually tried to do a flat fee model, and we did successfully for a number of years. But I will tell you, things are slow to change. I don't see anything taking over the AUM model in the next 10 years. I think there's room, and you will see growth in the other models, meeting clients where they want to be, whether it's by the hour, by the project. But I think AUM, because of its ease and digestibility, will just continue to be the dominant model.
AI for advisors, do we see it as kind of a co-pilot tool for them, disrupting what they do in their day, or is it just a hype?
I think it has a lot of promise. I actually think it will. We've got some work to do. I don't think it displaces the advisor role in any way. I think it just makes them more efficient. I have a strong belief, and I've banked my career on it, that people will continue to want to do business with people they trust. And regardless of how good the computers and the AIs get, you still need somebody to drive the AI, and you need somebody to know, hey, that doesn't look right. So it just becomes, I think, another tool in our arsenal in how we answer questions, how we solve problems, and how we serve our clients.
All right, last one, alternative investments. Do you think private markets are mainstream within the next 5 years?
5 years. Yes. I think to many degrees, I think they already are mainstream, right? People, compared to where we were even 15 or 20 years ago, people are regularly talking about them. They're thinking about them. They're available. Do they make sense for everybody? No. Where they make sense, I think a lot of people are deploying them. It'll be interesting to see the evolution, specifically on the retirement side, right? We just had the big executive order a few weeks ago, sort of knocking down some of those barriers and talking about getting privates in there now. One of the appeals of private assets is the illiquidity and the sort of access to them. So if you actually make that available to every retirement plan participant, how does that actually work? So a lot of questions, but I don't see it slowing down. I see it just kind of continuing on and continuing to get adoption.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Krulik. Appreciate you joining us on the podcast. It's a great time. And that was Patrick Krulik, Head of Investments at IMA Advisory Services.
Thanks, Patrick.